Okay, so UFC 308 took place last night, and I was very happy with the results of this card. It was a pretty fun card overall. There were some stinkers in the middle, but we'll get to it. I'm going to be going over the main card in this video. The main event was amazing, and I called it, and it was awesome. And Ilia Topuria just made himself probably the second biggest star in the UFC, I would say, after that finish. But we'll get to it. We're going to start off with Sharapute Magomedov versus Armen Petrosian. So, Sharapute Magomedov starts off the fight doing pretty good in the striking. Armen Petrosian was doing a lot better than I thought, to be honest. He was eating him with the low kicks. It was a tit for tat striking battle until the finish, which I thought it was going to be. I went with Sharapute Magomedov by decision or late finish. I said third round finish, and he got it done in the second with a one of the coolest knockouts I've ever fucking seen. Super unexpected. I was driving when it happened, and I hit a red light and looked down at my phone. I was driving and watching the fights, but I was doing it safely. But yeah, I hit a red light and I was like, okay, knock him out. And then I looked down at my phone, and right when I looked down at my phone, he threw the spinning back fist, hit him, and then threw another spinning back fist, double spinning back fist knockout to take out Armen Petrosian. Super sick, brings his hype super high. That was the main thing about this card, in my opinion, is that this card maximized hype for the UFC going forward. Every single fight maximized hype in terms of feature UFC fun plans. Every fighter that won made it's gonna make the future of the UFC a lot more interesting than if it was the other way around. And Magomedov double spinning back fist knockout over Armen Petrosian definitely adds some hype to that name and to feature matchups in the middleweight division. But next, Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. So I went with Dan Ige. I thought he was going to be able to dog it out. And to a degree, he did. In the first round, Dan Ige knocked him down and fumbled to finish, doing little baby shots against the fence for some reason. He wasn't throwing with power after that. He didn't throw with power for the rest of the fight. It was kind of weird. I didn't like it. It pissed me off. Lerone Murphy outpoints him in the second and third. Better striking, better clinch work, better grappling. Lerone Murphy gets it done by decision, winning the second and third. Dan Ige slowed down a lot, and I don't understand why. But Lerone Murphy keeps his zero by just being a little bit better technically, which is how Lerone Murphy was going to win. And he keeps his zero, which is hype building. This fight didn't really matter in terms of hype, to be honest. But that zero is interesting for Lerone Murphy. 15-0. That does make it a little bit more of an edge for his interest going forward. But yeah, Dan Ige couldn't do anything after the first round, really, and Lerone Murphy gets it done by decision. Next, Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. So, Magomed Ankalaev versus Rakic. I picked Rakic. I thought he was gonna. In hindsight, horrible pick, dumbest pick ever in hindsight. If you're not Yuri with your hand straight down by your waist, Rakic will not do anything to you in the face. He won't hit your head. He will not do damage on your head unless you're Yuri with your hand straight by your side. Is what I've learned. The only thing Rakic really has is a leg kick, and he utilized a leg kick, which gives me a very strong feeling that Pereira is going to beat Magomed Ankalaev pretty easily, I'd say. After this performance, I would say Pereira beats up Magomed. But yeah, Magomed won by decision. First round was Rakic's round, in my opinion. His low kicks were just made the first round his. He was hitting him, he's eating him with leg kicks, and pretty even on the boxing. And then in the second and third, Magomed's power started to come forward, where Rakic's moving backward like a weirdo started to come forward. started to show, and Magomed Ankalaev put a pressure on him that Rakic could not handle. He didn't wrestle once. Magomed outstruck him. Rakic cannot do anything on the back foot. Oh. L pick. Dumb pick. Worst pick I've ever had in hindsight. But Magomed gets it done. Power striking. Nasty left hand. Walk through the low kicks. Rakic can't do damage to an opponent. And we found that out. I won't be picking Rakic very much going forward, I don't think. But it was boring. It was a boring fight. It was kind of lame. Like Magomed, he earned the title shot. This is the title shot. I'm cool with it. I like it for Pereira. It was a boring fight and was kind of just lame. But Magomed is more interesting of a matchup for Pereira than Rakic because he's Dagestani and he has wrestling. So if Pereira can stuff a takedown and knock his ass out, then nobody can say shit about Pereira's weaknesses anymore. That's what makes this interesting. That's why Magomed winning builds hype going forward for that Pereira matchup. It's great. I'm cool with it. Boring fight, lame, uninteresting. Ankalaev clearly won though. So yeah, next. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev, co-main event. By the way, I did really bad on picks. 2 and 3 on picks. Ugh. But I wanted Khamzat to win, so that's cool. I'm glad he won. How he won is how he was going to win if he won. If that was confusing. If Khamzat was going to win, this is how he was going to win. First round obliteration. And he did do that, which was super insane. And the finish was devastating and brought all of the hype back to Khamzat Chimaev that he lost, in my opinion. Humble Khamzat is a new fighter to watch out for. I'm stuttering a lot. So, starts off, Khamzat, instant takedown from halfway across the cage like a fucking freak. Just instantly goes for it at an insane range, takes Robert down, instantly gets a hook in. Robert is doing really well to scramble out of these positions, scrambles out, but Khamzat is goddamn relentless. Continues to try to get the back, gets a couple of strikes in, gets the back halfway, kinda, and then just face cranks the fuck out of Robert Whittaker and destroys his jaw. Horrible destruction. In the moment, I was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, what? What is going on? That was not in at all. But then his mouth was like, he was walking around with his mouth wide open. I was like, oh shit, his jaw's fucked. And then we saw the picture that came out. And yeah, I would have tapped. That shit's gross. His 3 teeth on the bottom of his bottom front teeth completely caved into the back of his mouth. Gums and all, and his jaw was completely shattered. And he taps from pain. Khamzat Chimaev gains back all of his hype. First round submission. If Robert survives that first round, I believe he gets the fight. But for Khamzat to do that to Whittaker is insane and very telling. I don't see Khamzat Chimaev losing to a middleweight ever, besides Dricus. Potentially. I feel like Dricus is the only one that has like a shot. You have to get past that first round. I think Dricus has the best chance of getting past that first round. I think he fucks Israel. I think he fucks Israel Adesanya. I think he destroys Baralho. I think he destroys Imavov. I think he fucking ragdolls Strickland and chokes him out like nothing. So, yeah. A lot of hype with that. Everything he lost from being a sick little bitch and that Usman performance is gained tenfold. He is now the man at middleweight, and he is undeniable. I kind of hope they jump Strickland and give Khamzat the title shot. I'm cool with that. Strickland's kind of being... See, I'd be fine with it if Strickland... I'm fine with the Strickland title shot. I'd be a lot more fine with it if he didn't completely switch up his personality right when he got the belt. He was always the fighter that was like, I'll fight anybody on any day for I just want money. I don't give a fuck. And now he's waiting for title shots, and it's just a complete flip on his personality, and it's just sad to see because it's what made him cool. Because his fight style is not what made him cool. His personality and his attitude towards fighting is what made him cool. And that is no longer there. So now we just have jabs and teeps, and that's all you get. No more badass aura from Sean Strickland, and now a lot of it for Khamzat Chimaev. So I say give Khamzat the title shot. But it'll probably line up well to just give Strickland the title shot anyway. And then have Dricus. I think Dricus beats Strickland clearly now, in my opinion. And then we can do that fight, because that's a big fight. So yeah, I think Chimaev's next fight will probably be for a title. But I'll make a video about matchups either tomorrow or the next day. Next, the main event of the evening. Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. This is the best outcome, in my opinion. I went with Ilia Topuria by second or third round KO, and I am very happy with what happened in this fight. So first round, I gave to Max Holloway. He was doing better, outstriking Ilia on the feet. Ilia's warming up. He did get a big fucking takedown, but it wasn't enough to give him the round, I don't think. He didn't do anything with it. Max Holloway was chewing him up. Good teeps, good everything, good at range. Ilia is throwing with heat in the first round, though. Scary as fuck. After this, I think Ilia beats Makhachev. I think Ilia beats everyone. The amount of hype Ilia gained from this is insane. So yeah, first round I gave to Max, doing a little bit better, doing a little bit more volume. Topuria kind of starts slowish. He builds in. Second round I did give to Ilia. I don't get the Max giving it to Max at all. I don't get that at all. He was low kicking now, low kicking good. He was hitting Max with some fucking big hooks. Big, scary, like, oh shit, hooks. I could count like 3 strikes Max hit Ilia with that I was like, ooh, wow. I could count so many where I was like, oh shit, that Ilia was landing. He was doing big shots and hitting Holloway, and I was like, oh, his chin is going to... I had a feeling from the beginning, since this fight was announced, that Ilia was going to be the one to crack his chin. And he's hitting him with these, and I'm like, how long is it? It's just a matter of time. Because he's landing. I don't see Max KOing Ilia. It was just a matter of time at that point. So I gave Ilia the second. Third round comes. Max Holloway is stomping at the oblique of Ilia a lot. He was doing it the whole fight. It kind of pissed me off a little bit. I didn't like it. That he's just stomping the oblique over and over and over. I was like, jeez, bro. It's cool. If it would have finished the fight like that, I would have been very fucking disappointed, is all I'll say. But yeah, third round, it starts off. Striking is pretty... They're going back and forth, and then Ilia throws a monstrous right hand. Hits Max Holloway directly, just square in the face. Sends his ears flapping. Rocks Max Holloway bad. Up against the fence, Ilia Topuria is hitting body shots, going up top, hitting body shots. Max Holloway is doing good to circle out. It looks like he's back to a bit, but Ilia is keeping on him. And when Ilia has you hurt, he does not stop until you're dead. And he is going to kill you. His power and technique is too good. And I knew Max was done at that moment. He got backed up. He stopped with his lateral movement. He started just covering up a little bit and moving his head. And that was when Ilia hit him with a deadly left hook and put Max out. A couple more hammer fists and Max Holloway's out cold, pretty much. Ilia Topuria, the first man to knock out Max Holloway. Insane moment. Insane. Hype fucking moment. Oh yeah. And at the beginning of the fight, Ilya Tapuria's been saying all week that he's going to point at the ground the first 10 seconds, and then they're going to throw. And Ilya did just that. He walked the walk. He pointed straight down at the ground and said, let's bang, in the first 10 seconds. And Max Holloway did the El Matador bull thing and said, no, I'm not going to strike with you. And I'll say this, after how the fight went, it's a good thing Max Holloway didn't do that, because he would have gotten shinned in the first 10. In my humble opinion, I think Ilya Tapuria gained a lot of confidence from that first 10 seconds. I think that was a big, it was smart of Ilya, in my opinion, because I can't speak on behalf of Holloway, but in my brain, if I'm in there, I would be like, fuck, he kind of got me on that. It would kind of get me out of my brain a little, I would think, because he out badassed Holloway so bad in those first 10, and then he's knocks him out cold in the third, and it was insane. Ilya's different. He does not lose to these guys. He's not going to lose to okay, Volk. He cleans Volk again, destroys Volk again. Please don't make that fight yet. We need to have Volk fight one fight and then come back and then maybe fight Topuria. Give Topuria to Diego Lopez. That is interesting because Diego Lopez has a lot of super sick, fast first round start power, which is how you beat Topuria, is starting quick and throwing hard, and maybe you catch him. Because Ilya's been caught and rocked by goofy shit, head kicks and shit. And then he builds, and then you can't do shit against him in the third, or second, or third, or fourth. You can't. So you got to take him out of there. And I think Diego is that guy. If anybody's going to take him out of there, it's going to be Diego Lopez in the first round. So that fight is interesting. But I think Ilya is unstoppable besides Diego Lopez. I don't see him getting beat by anybody. I don't see him getting beat by Diego. But I don't see him getting beat by anyone. I see him chinning, knocking out cold Islam. I see that vividly in my brain now. I might be brainwashed. He just knocked out Max Holloway. I can see him chinning Islam. His wrestling is very good. Islam has an insane size advantage, but I could see Ilya knocking out Islam in one of their striking exchanges. I can see that. So Topuria is now the second biggest star in the UFC, in my opinion, right under Alex Pereira. He is a monster. I am a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of him since Josh Emmett. I was a fan of him kinda when he beat Bryce Mitchell, but when he beat Emmett, I was like, oh, this guy's good. Holy shit. And then the Volk knockout, crazy. This crazy. The resume, he's only 27. He's 16-0. He's 27. He is going to be a monster and probably the future featherweight GOAT. If not, he has the potential to be the future GOAT of the UFC. I know I'm glazing hard, but I just get that feeling from this guy. He has no holes. He's Conor McGregor without the wrestling holes and the dumb gimmick attitude that Conor kind of grew into. Like, Ilya's a trash talker that's fun, but he's humble at his core. I think Ilya has the potential to go a long way. And I'm very excited to see his rise to superstardom go even further. And yeah, that was my reaction to this card. Very good card. Not very good. It was good. Good card. Especially co-main in the opener. Sick. So yeah, I think that's about it. I will see you soon.